And when you have side control, if you're not controlling the head, you have to be controlling the hip, okay? So the thing is in this situation here, I want to be controlling his head. Very seldom do I want to have this control here, because if I want to do any submissions, I have to let everything go. So I want to have an underhook. That's very important. And I want to have this hand controlling his head. The way you control the head is you move it offline of the spine like this, okay? So what happens is that your right hip, and I'll do this from a different angle, is connected to his hip, so that he has minimal opportunity in space to insert to his right knee. But the thing here is that in order for him to move his hips out, he's got to realign his body with his head. So here he can't move his hips out because he'll choke his head. If he's here, he can much more easily move the hips out and slide his knee in. So what I like to do here is always control the head, and I always apply pressure with your midsection, with your core versus with your chest. When you're here, you're very light and there's space, and I can't properly engage my arm here. Here, I can, and I'm always dynamic, so I can roll my hips and so that I can move. And then here I move the head while I'm across his head, but across more his kind of temple headline, because here it's shoulder, and I don't want to be here. I would rather much be here and keep making it uncomfortable for him, because head control is side control. The only other problem is that when you're controlling the head, you're not controlling the hips. So if you're not controlling the hips, he can kind of move his hips out and so forth. So if you're controlling the hip, you're also not controlling the head. But when you're controlling the hip, it makes it difficult for him to move his hips away, while I'm still applying pressure with my midsection where the belt is. And if you can hear Philip breathing. Now here I can still control the head a little bit, even though that his arms can come in the frame and he can begin to kind of reposition himself here, okay? So while you're doing all this, you got to also remember that for proper side control, I can also reverse my base here and begin to create opportunities to attack his arms, or maybe even mount, as we talked yesterday, and attack this arm here, which is still the underhook arm. But when I am in this position here, I always watch to see what that arm is doing, because if it goes in front of my face here, we always have the opportunity for kimuras right here, and these become very available right here. So kimura, hand pointed down, arm lock out, and then key lock right here, which is what we did yesterday. But what we're gonna do today is we're gonna use the lapel. So what I'm gonna do is I have a side control. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna take this lapel out, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna feed it under here, and I'm gonna grab it right about here, which gives me a good kind of head control still with the underhook. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna kind of get a little bit of slack here so that my wrist is on his right neck, and I'm gonna screw my head back as I'm gonna step over here, and as I pull. All right. So this right here, you want to make sure that you relieve the slack here. So as I feed it, I want to get it tight right here, because you can always begin to release the slack here, but this is a great control here, because now you're controlling his far shoulder, and it's hard for him to even really do much because you have a good control right here. So when he tries to move around, you have really good control and a good crossface, because if he can't turn his head into me, he's not going to turn his body into me here. And even if he begins to try to bring a knee in, I'm able to move my legs out. I'll do it from a different angle. So what you're going to do here is that you're going to move your hand just as far as you can so that your left wrist is aligned with his head. I'm controlling this arm here. I'm going to slide my right knee here, and I'm going to just step over right here, but I lean my head back. Now all I'm going to do is my heel is in the mat, and I'm just gonna pull with my left and pinch with my left heel right here. All right, so you're gonna take this lapel. So let's say you've got the side control right here. You may go here, maybe here, if you need to open up this gi. if it's already open here, it can be here. You just have to go and feed it just like this right here, and then you give it a little bit of pressure here. And now from here, as you get ready, you slide it just enough far back here. Your right knee goes into his armpit here, similar to like a scarf hold. Step over right here, but my head moves out here, so that here now my heel like moves to the mat here, and you pull to the left. All right, would you go that way, sir? So let's say you're here and the lapels, here you got side control here, and I'm always dynamic because side control pressure is lateral pressure. If your knees are here, all it is just gravity. When you're here, you're constantly driving and you're able to move on here. Right? So here, as I pull it flat out, feed it, I give him the business right here, and then right here, slide it back. As my head slides back, knee slides in. I don't care where his arms are really. Your foot comes here, and I plant the heel to the mat so I can drive my hip in and pull. All right. Pull this out. Just give me a little bit of business right here. And then you go boom, heel, and from. All right. This will help. Left hand. What you can always do also here is, you can also go here, and then you can get here, and then you can get here. And do that next. All right, let's do it. 1, 2, 3. Let's do that first one. We'll do the second one. Let's go, partner up.